Disagreement as well between Beijing and Washington over the metals on which the modern world turns. Chinese exports of rare earth magnets falling more than 6% in September. Our shipments to the US plunging nearly 29% the same month, even as exports surged to Vietnam and the Netherlands. These elements are critical to the manufacture for everything from electric vehicles to US defense systems. Experts warn China's tighter export controls could disrupt global supply chains and put a squeeze on US defense manufacturers. The US president warning against a playing of what he calls the rare earth game, but Beijing so far showing no signs of backing down. With new export curbs taking effect just before the next tariff deadline, economists warn that this could be the new normal and the world might just need to adjust to China's grip on critical minerals. And for more on this, we're joined live by CNA's senior correspondent in Shanghai, Yew Guan. Yew Guan, earlier we were talking about China's next five-year plan, but in the immediate term, frictions between the US and China escalating in recent weeks, and that could put a drag on trade tensions on the Chinese economy, certainly in the coming quarter, or the third quarter.
Well, we had the release of those the third quarter GDP figures this morning, and the figures come in at 4.8% within the forecast of analysts. And it is, however, the slowest in a year. That said, the figures released this morning are of the quarter ending in September. And in fact, the economic activity captured took place during the relative calm of the tariff truce. We also need to note that at 4.8%, China is essentially on track, right, to achieve its long-term target of doubling its 2020 GDP by 2035, because they just need to achieve about 4.5 to 5% growth every quarter. Now, but that said, the figure this morning did not isolate the impact of the US-China trade friction. If we look at some earlier trade figures, there are some remarkable bright spots. For example, the Associated Press noted that even as China's exports to the United States fell 27% in September from the year before, its global exports hit a 6-month high, climbing 8.3%. In particular, exports of EVs doubled in September from a year earlier. Besides, Beijing is trying to reshape the economy, so some policies can have a bigger dampening effect than tariffs. For example, the move to reduce the share of property in the economy or the anti-corruption drive. To give an example, a sales manager in the medical equipment told me that sales have been affected not by tariffs, but by the anti-corruption drive, because now hospitals no longer have the autonomy they had before to buy equipment and have to route all large purchases through centralized approval systems. So even legitimate purchases are being delayed because of decision making. Decision makers are afraid of being accused of corruption. For better or for worse, this fits within Xi Jinping's broader doctrine of higher quality development, which doesn't just mean innovation, but also risk containment. Wei Su?
Thanks. CNA's senior correspondent in Shanghai, Yew Guan, they're looking at key economic figures out today for the third quarter.